He's like, dude, you want to come and hang out with System of a Down for the night?
I knew right away when I had that tortilla and I had that caldo that I was never, ever I was going to eat the same like I used to eat before.
The law of the universe is to give. Because if you pay attention to the universe is just giving you. It's not asking for anything in return. Like the sun is just giving you life. You know, the apple tree is just giving you apple.
Sometimes you're ready to share your energy. You're ready to do all these amazing things. But unfortunately, it's not your time at the moment and your energy is kind of not fitting around. But that doesn't mean that you're going to need to get discouraged.
All right, dude. Life.
All right. Thank you for having me over.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, we're talking. We started talking about family. So I have 3 kids. My daughter is 11. My boy is 6, and then my wife just gave birth like 2 weeks ago to our second son. So he's 2 weeks old.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. I bet right now you're filled with joy, and it changes. I mean, I just cannot imagine. I'm not a father myself, but I can just imagine having a kid. You know, obviously I'm gonna work on it, right? But I just can't imagine having something that is part of you, just holding it. You know, it has to change you for the better. You know, it has to change in the way that you view the world and the way that you see future generations. You know, I think it's beautiful being a father, and congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's a trip, man, because a lot of people say I'm not gonna have kids until I'm ready. But the truth is that you're never ready. You know what I mean? Like
that is.
So you just gotta, when it happens, or when you want them, you just gotta do it, because you're not, like, nothing in life teaches you how to be a parent. You know, it just happens through doing.
That's some wise words. That's exactly right.
Which I think actually is kind of the way that it is for everything else, right? You just learn as you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's been awesome. I never wanted kids. I thought I never wanted kids. Like growing up, I was like, no, that's just not for me. It sounds terrible, you know?
Yeah.
And then my wife one day got pregnant, and we're like, okay, let's do that. And now my daughter is 11, and it's freaking amazing. And it's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And we're like best friends. And now she's getting into an age where like we can have more adult conversations. I mean, not really. She's 11, you know, not like fully adult, but we can talk about business, and we can talk about, like, you know, what it's like to be an adult, and being responsible for your own life and the life of, you know, in this case, our children and all that. And it's really fun. It's really fun being a dad.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize it, how like the Hispanic community gets brought up, you know, as a kid. I mean, we start learning about business early in our life, you know, like especially, I mean, my parents were butchers. So I was in the butcher shop. Like, I remember my first knife. I remember having my first knife. That was like literally my toy. I would play with the bones and stuff. But they would teach me the craft, you know, because eventually that's going to come to me, or that was going to come to me at some point, right? So they had to be able to teach you and everything. So I feel like it's a good way to start your kids, kind of like experiment, can actually see in the world as it is, you know?
Yes, for sure. I think that, like, I went to school, you know, traditional school in Colombia where I grew up. And I honestly don't remember anything about my whole experience of being in school, other than I did a bunch of bad things. Like, I was the really disrespectful kid, and I played a lot of soccer, you know, and like I just played with my friends, but I don't remember the experience of learning things. Like, I don't know what I learned exactly.
I see.
But what I see now is that most kids graduate high school. So they spend 11 or 12 years in school. And then when they graduate high school, they have no clue what to do. And so they go get a job at a grocery store, you know, like as a cashier, or they go to a fast food restaurant, or like, which blows my mind that you spend 12 years in school, and when you get out, you don't know very many things, you know? It's crazy. Well, I'm trying to not do that with my kids. So like, my daughter is 11. She's all about saving money, and she's all about, it's really funny because she's the opposite of me in some ways, and exactly the same way as me in some ways. Like, she is right now all about rock and roll. And so I'm introducing bands, like punk rock and like all these cool things. Like, she's obsessed with Nirvana right now.
Oh, it's like 100%. I mean, that's a great band. I mean, you know, you got all these great bands from the 90s. I mean, it's the way to start, man.
She knows all about it. But she's also all about business. So like, she's got all these different ideas, and she was making little bracelets for a while. She's like, Daddy, how do I sell these? Like, how do I, maybe I can tell my friends to make them and then I sell them for $5 and then I pay them $3.
That
And
is so smart. There you go, man. That's
yeah,
a CEO thinking right there, you know?
yeah. So it's really cool. I want that for her. I want her to, when she's 16, to have so many ideas of things that she can do because she's already been doing them,
Yeah.
you know, as opposed to just being in a school where like they just like they teach you to forget to be creative. You know, it's like creativity is just not cool in this
Yeah.
system. So I'm trying to do the opposite with my kids and just have them be
Exactly.
super creative, you know.
And I feel like in school sometimes they just got one goal, you know, to be honest, and making you a ching 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 machine. So,
Yeah.
you know, reality, if you want creativity, yeah, is that we gotta find that on our own. So that's really great that you're doing that with your kids, man. It makes me really happy because it's like, man, you know, the future is the future. Our kids is the future, and it's important to invest time with them, you know.
Yeah, dude. They say kids are 20% of the population, but 100% of the future.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, and we just forget about it. We send them to school and like somebody else is taking care of them, and while we go to work and pay our bills and whatever. But it seems to me like a crazy tragedy for humanity, the way that we treat our kids, you know, like we just treat them like, hey, whatever, just go to school. And like, you know, like most kids
them and like,
so
yeah, that's actually true. You have somebody else raising your kids. Whoa, that just hit right now. That is very true.
Yeah, and then you wonder,
that's really,
you wonder why you don't connect with your kids. Like I have multiple friends that have kids that are teenagers and they're having a lot of problems right now. And it's like, well, I mean, you were working their entire childhood and they were going somewhere else. And like, you can only imagine, because we've all been through this, like all this psychological crazy shit that happens to us when we're like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like those years are crazy. And if most of your peers, like, you know, your biggest influencers in your life are other kids that don't have a fucking clue about anything either, then it gets really confusing, you know. And it sucks because especially in this country, I see that because it's all about having a bunch of stuff, everyone's in debt, and so that makes everybody work all the time. Like you have to work all the time because you have so much debt. And so then you forget about the things that really matter, like hanging out with your kids, because then eventually they're going to be adults or teenagers and we should have an amazing relationship with them.
Yes.
You know, like that's like, what else is the point of being on this planet other than to have great relationships with people that you love, you know?
Exactly.
If you can do that, then you're good. Like that's how I measure success.
Oh, 100%. I think community is always very important. You know, I feel like, you know, as the time pass by, we're getting older and there's a new generation coming in, and community is really important because the community is what it takes care of everything, you know? And I feel like it goes in hand with sustainability. Like right now, we working so hard to preserve things, to use everything that we can for our future generations, you know? Pretty much is the community, it's the same community, you know, investing into the same community. It's just, you know, recycling everything up. And I feel like us as a chef, because we have such a responsibility with our kids and with the future generations, we have our responsibility even heavier right now on preaching the importance of respecting and set the bar higher for the ingredients that we use in the kitchen, you know, so be able to save or take care better of our planet and earth that is giving us all these beautiful things, you know.
Yeah, for sure. To speaking of community, I want to hear more about like how you grew up. Where did you grow up? Like, tell me about.
Man, I grew up in Cuernavaca, between Cuernavaca and Veracruz. It was like it was kind of like a different kind of, like, my mom is background is Cuban, right? Afro-Cubans, and then my dad is indigenous. So there were like two different cultures. So growing with them, it was really hard because my mom was like all this happy person and she was like always dancing, and my dad was really serious. They split up and everything. And eventually I started growing in two parts at the same time. Like I will be in Cuernavaca, Morelos, and I'll be tasting all this food. I'll be combined with my family's indigenous and learning all these traditions. And then 1 year I will go to Veracruz and learn all that stuff, different stuff like fermentation, cane sugar, coffee, because my grandma had coffee fields, orange fields, and cane sugar fields. So I learned really young in age, just picking coffee. Like she would teach me, it's like, you're just gonna grab this branch right here, and then you're just gonna pick this one that's got this color. And then she would start teaching me all these things. Like, all right, if you grab that one and you eat it, tell me the notes. And then I would start eating it and like, okay, and then I'll taste that one. So I started learning. The notes start recording in my mind. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I didn't know coffee was sweet. And then it's like, yeah, it's crazy. Huh? So I started learning how she did it. Like we used to pick it up and take it in the kitchen where it's like nice and cool, and like it will ferment. And then it was crazy because like my grandma just would come over and then just would see this thing and be like, let's see. She would open it up and it's like, no, it needs more. And I'm like, how do you know that? So I started learning from her, like because everybody worked. So she was the one kind of like taking me in when I was a kid and kind of like taking care of me in the beginning of the day while my parents come back and all that stuff. You know how it is in the Hispanic community. So the grandma was raising me. So I learned from her, ask her so many questions, right? Ask her how come she cooked with wood.
Yeah.
And she didn't, like, she had a stove. My dad like bought her a stove in the inside of the house and it was clean. I was like, man, this has been there for 5 years. Like, mom, and she was like, mijo, it's like, you don't understand. You know, it's like comer es un arte and it's a craft. Now, my craft y mi arte for my family comes from cooking with wood. And I was just like, whoa, I've never saw it that way. I was like, what? Like, so she started teaching me all this stuff. I started learning how to cook pretty much anything on fire. And then, like I said, time there, and then time in Cuernavaca. My dad was a butcher and a really well-known on carnitas. Like he will make the killers carnitas. Like judiciales will come over, police will come over, like people will come over. My dad was really lovely, like person. So he will kind of like, he will have his times, but at the same time, he will be really lovely. And then he would just give carnitas away. Like, I'd be like, Dad, you're not going to charge, like, no, let him eat. I was like, and that was a big example for me. I was like, whoa, like, I didn't think that we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to get money from it, right? But then it's like, just look at who's eating. Just look at who's eating and look at the relationships that we're creating. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. And I'm just like, whoa. So learning with that from 7 years old, you know, all the way to like 17, it was just amazing, right? I learned all kinds of agriculture. I learned, my grandpa used to take me as a kid to, all right, mijo, what the, you know, all right, let's go, you know, plant cane sugar. And that thing is so hard, but I did it. And I feel so proud. I was like 7 and I was just digging in the, you know, from 6 in the morning to like 12, I was just like working in there and putting cane sugar. I learned how to grow cane sugar. So it's been a blessing. And then I moved over here to the United States.
How old are you?
17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so pretty much I had like all the first part of my life, and then I came over here and I remember tasting my first tortilla and I was just like, man, I was like, this is so different. I was like, it doesn't taste the same, doesn't have the notes, it doesn't have anything, but it had this different flavor that I liked it. I was like, oh shoot, that's actually pretty banging. I mean, you know, and I had a caldo. I remember I was in Arizona and I had a caldo. And no, I knew right away when I had that tortilla and I had that caldo that I was never, ever I was going to eat the same like I used to eat before. So I had to make peace with myself. And I was like, all right, I guess the good food is over. So now we're going to start in a different journey, right? So I started knocking different doors and different kind of like arts, right? And obviously you always have the friend and he's like, hey man, you want to wash dishes or something? And I'll be like, sure, dude. I mean, it's going to make me some money. Then is when I got put in a kitchen. And the food was completely different. I was just like, whoa, what is this? Like whole grain mustard? What is that? Like soy sauce? Like I started going around. And something that I noticed when I was a kid, that like the part of like my cheeks and the bottom of my mouth, they're like, if I have something that is more a little sweeter than usually, like my whole face just like explodes. So when I came over here and I started learning all these new flavors, I was like, what is soy sauce? I was just literally tasting everything. I was in the kitchen. I was just tasting everything. Sambal sauce. I was like, what is this? It's so good. And they're like, you want to cook? And I was just like, yeah, let me cook something. So I was like, all right, there's going chicken in the inside. Just get whatever you want. I was like, cool. So I started getting like, I remember I tasted whole grain mustard and I tasted sambal sauce. And I was like, these ones together, they're pretty dope. So I like put them together and I started putting all kinds of concussion. And then I kind of learned from my mom, it has to be like super hot, the pan. And I just stir that up and make cremas and all that. And my boss came over and then he you know, he was really picky eater because it's in Sonoma, right? He's like, you Bill, it's like, oh my God, like, you know, all these Michelin like restaurants, right? And then my boss come over and then he is really picky eater. So he had one, like he ate one taco. And he just left because the office, his office, it was in front of it was a catering business. So he came back and got another one. And then my friend Rigo was like, dude, he got 2. And I was like, and he came back and he had like 4, but they were huge tacos. Then later down the road, he's like, hey, we like to, jump in the kitchen and start learning? And I was like, yeah, that would be so cool. And he's all right. So it made me feel really good that somebody like went into the dish room and then bought me out and then actually like believed in me. And until nowadays, I'm cool with that person. I'm really like, I love him so much because it gave me an opportunity that changed completely my life. So when I got out of that kitchen, it was game. He started like, he paired me with people that I didn't even know, like Tyler Phillips. It was this amazing chef. And then he'll be like always, oh, I go all the time to Oaxaca, and he'll be talking all this Spanish, and he started teaching me all this stuff that want to know a secret. And then he would show me. I was like, oh wow, I was like, that's cool. So little by little, I started learning. And then it's like, now you want to work with Brian helping, and then okay, so here we go. Domain Carneros winery. I'll be on Gloria Ferrez winery. I'll be all over the place, and he will teach me. He's like, all right, man, when you get to this place, man, you always want to grab the person that is slings the champagne, dude, because you guys gotta do a pairing. And so he started just teaching me. Little did I know, I thought that was like how anything just works, right? Like, but then I moved to Seattle, back to Seattle, obviously, right? Because I love it here. I needed to go just to kind of like cook around. Because I came here originally to Seattle, then I moved to California. Then I came back to Seattle.
Okay.
So when I came to Seattle, I was 17. I left to California, I think the same day, just to kind of meet some family down there, and I stayed because the cooking scene, it was like so many good food. So kind of like I stayed. Then I came back because the whole energy came out. So I was like, all right, time to come back home and anything. I feel like I reached my goals here, and it's time for me to just come home and then do my own thing. So it was really fun. I came over here, and then I realized that not all the kitchens were like in Sonoma, right? And that kind of like threw me a little. I was like, how come this is not like this? How come it's not like that? But I was really young. I was kind of like just going around, kind of like seeing. But the flavor, it was incredible. I was like, the flavors are cool here. Like, I don't know why they don't have more light into this community, right? So I kept working in different spots, and just like for free, I would just roll in and be like, hey, how's it going? My name is Cesar Figueroa. Would you like some help? And then I would just knock in really important restaurants, and they would be really lovely with me. So they would like teach me and like let me like know stuff. Then I started realizing this is really good food. Like, if you can put job bill with some of the best restaurants from Portland and Seattle, man, we go at it. Like straight up, our flavor is fire, man. And the creativity, I started seeing, and the way that I witnessed from 2012 to right now, the food scene, it changes so much quick. And we just keep on doing. We just keep inventing. We just keep on doing. We keep pushing the envelope, and I'm happy being part of here. So now I moved over here. I learned Italian cuisine. I learned Indian cuisine and a little bit of Asian cuisine, right? Because all the people working around here. And then I started reading, and I realized that the food can be paired really well with medicinal stuff. And native plants. So here I am, just reading and reading and reading, trying to look for friends. They're in the botanical field, friends that know, I'll be sending messages, hey, can I eat this moss or no? And they'll be like, no, I don't need that moss. Okay, cool. So I'll throw it away, but that's kind of how, and then I learned to incorporate oils, teas, anything that has to do with Pacific Northwest into my cooking. So it's kind of like sometimes you have something beneficial for you that you can, cleanse yourself, or something healthy for you. Always thinking in that, and pretty much that's how I've been living pretty my life, just like everywhere. I've been a person that I've never been shy to talk to anybody. I've not been shy of eating anything. Like it's equal opportunity as like learning, because I feel like learning, the more you learn from somebody else, the more you understand their situation and their struggles. And that's what I love. I love learning about the community that I'm stepping on. Like, I come and visit. I like to learn from them. What do they like? What do they do? And understanding, and be able to help them or help each other to become better together, So I feel like, any young cook out there that, I feel like everybody got to travel, got to try different cultures. Don't be close to just talking to one person just because you feel comfortable. Just talk to everybody, And the beautiful thing about this is like food is like salsa dancing. Even if you don't speak the same language, man, if you change some flavor, man, like you guys gonna become friends. And all you have to say maybe just learn how to say hola or hi, and then that's it. So yeah, that's where I stand now with everything that I have learned so far in the years.
That's awesome, dude. I like that story. I also moved to the US. I was 16 when I moved to the US.
Oh wow.
It was very similar, but I moved to Miami, and then from Miami I went to Alabama. and I was in Alabama for a while. So I
Mm.
started cooking in Alabama, and I started cooking there out of necessity because I never thought that I wanted to cook. I loved food. I loved eating
Mm.
because I grew up in South America in a place where like every dish you eat is freaking amazing. You know, like everything is local and like everything is cooked by grandma. So
Mhm.
it's going to be amazing. You know, there's so much like the idea of food and love is just always one, you know?
Yes.
So I loved eating, but I didn't know that I wanted to cook, even though like as a kid, I would watch my grandma cooking and I would be like, wow, like this is amazing. Cause she would take all day long to do this like super elaborate dishes, you know, that people now are just too lazy. They just like get a
Yes.
bouillon cube and whatever. But my grandma would be like killing the
Exactly.
chicken and like, you know, doing everything. So it was fascinating. And then when I moved here, being 16, I was like, shit, what am I going to do with my life? I don't have any plans whatsoever because I don't have really any skills at all. Like when I moved here, I didn't speak any English either, like at all.
Mhm.
So I ended up in a kitchen out of just necessity. And I also overstayed my visa because I moved here. I had a permit or a visa to stay here for 6 months, but I just overstayed. So I was just like, fuck it,
Okay.
I'm staying. And then so I couldn't work anywhere. I couldn't really go to school. Technically, legally, I couldn't do anything.
Mhm.
Kitchens were places where you can still work, you know? So that's what drew me into the kitchen. And then just like you, I was just excited being in the kitchen, being like, oh my God, like it was so cool to see like the pantry guy because I was like doing dishes and prepping. And then I was like, oh, one day I'll be there making the dressings, you know, and like the day that person showed up drunk or something and like got fired, then because I had a good attitude, they'll be like, Andre, get over here. You're going to learn how to make dressings. And I'll be like, yeah, you know, like so.
Yeah.
And just like that, just through having a great attitude, I started moving my way up in the kitchen. Uh, and then I started traveling around. I started cooking in Alabama, but I've cooked all over the place. And I just essentially went to the back of the kitchen and I was like, hey, chef, I'll do anything for you. Like, I'll be your best employee. I'll be here anytime and I'll work 24 hours a day and I'll never complain. I'll scrub things. Like, I'll be your guy. And so every time they're like, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, you got a job. Can you start right now? I'm like, yes. And I was just super excited about it. And I worked 24/7 pretty much, you know, in those years, learned a bunch, worked at, I mean, Indian restaurants, Greek restaurants, French sushi. I mean, you name it, like everything. Cause I was like, if I want to learn how to roll sushi, like, how do you do that? You go get a job at a sushi restaurant. And if you have a good resume and a good attitude, they'll take you in, you know?
Exactly. Hmm.
That's how you learn. And you bypass the whole idea of culinary school, which it's great for some, but I'm not a fan because
Yeah.
mostly because you end up with a bunch of debt. That's the part that I don't like is
Hmm.
you have a bunch of debt, you graduate, and then you go get a job at a place where you're going to be making exactly the same as the person that, you know, what is an illegal Colombian. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I don't recommend it just on that sense. But as long as you have a great attitude, you can go to any restaurant and work anywhere. People will love you. You know, like my thing that I like, my advice to young cooks is you always want to be invited to cook again. You know, so like I see it as a game. So you want to be invited to play the game again because if you're going to win the most games, the real winner is the one that wins the most games. And so you need to be invited as many times as possible.
Hmm.
So, and like in our career, because you never know who you're gonna run into in the future. You know, like you cook with this prep cook. Like I have a funny story. I was working with this guy, Jeremy is his name, and he was a prep cook with me at this place in Lake Tahoe. And we used to be like two stoner kids, you know, got too
Yeah.
drunk on the weekends. And we were like two stupid kids, you know, prepping. And we worked at a nice place. This place was really cool. And then I didn't see him for years. And then later he called me one day and he's like, dude, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, dude, Jeremy, what the fuck? I haven't heard from you in forever. He's like, dude, you want to come and hang out with System of a Down for the night? And it's
Oh,
one of my favorite bands. I'm like, what? He's like,
that's
yeah,
one of my favorite bands, man.
yeah. It was
100% Toxicity. That
first two albums were like two of the greatest albums of all time.
fire, man. Fire, straight
And
up.
he's like, I'm their private chef. And I was like, Jeremy, what?
What?
And so he hooked it up with passes and we went backstage and like coolest shit ever. So like you never know what the prep cook next to you is going to end up doing, you know?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so it's all about having good relationships with all those people. because potentially, you know, one of these prep cooks or dishwashers or whatever that you're working with is going to own some fancy Michelin star restaurant one day, or it's going to be a private chef or some celebrity or whatever. And because you were cool, they're going to one you around. So they'll invite you to be part of that. And then you continue to play that game of like always playing in order to be invited again. You know, so just keep a great attitude and then people want to be around you. And then you'll succeed. And I think in any career, but in kitchens for sure, you know, because if you're that person that's complaining all the time or it's dirty and it's not like, then forget it. You're not going to succeed. But if you're the one that goes the extra mile, that like cleans the fryer better than anybody else, and the flat top is spotless, you know, then every time you're going to be invited again, you know?
Exactly.
So
no, I definitely think, I feel like definitely, yeah, that's a great advice. I feel like you kind of like, it kind of shows from the moment you get to see somebody's knives. I think for the moment they present a food and the moment, like, you know, the clean stuff, you can kind of have an idea what kind of person it is, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they have good attitude. They just don't know how to act, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great advice. Just try to work on your skills, work on your craft. If you think that, you know, your knives are a little, they need some love, then love them, you know, they're your tools. And, you know, if the flat top needs a second scrub, then just do it. You use that, you know, that flat top is helping you to push all that service, you know, and it's like, it's there for you. So you need to be there for that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really important, like, to be able to, for the young cooks, just work on your craft. And then when people get to see that you good attitude and the way that you love your craft and the way that you love your surrounders, because everything is run by love, you know, that is going to help you as well a lot. You know, just get invited, keep being friendly, keep being open, and the door is going to open for you.
Yeah, for sure. So where are you right now? Where are you cooking these days?
Right now I'm just like taking a small break.
Nice.
You know, I'm trying to figure it out, how can I help the community. And I feel like sometimes we have a job, and I'm the kind of person that if I get a job, man, like I will be like, oh yeah, no, I'm just here to do my job. But eventually I love to do more, and I like, oh, what is this? And then next thing you know, you're in charge or I don't know, you kind of like walking around like that, and that is so bad. So and you forget about your side, you know, side plans or anything. So I'm kind of hard, and I'm learning to be able to separate everything up. So because of that, I kind of like I'm taking a break right now so I can focus on new directions on where am I going. And yeah, pretty much I want to be able to end it up in a place where like I help the indigenous community. Hands down. Like, you know, the future, and it's got a lot to do with the kids and everything, and our indigenous people as well. I mean, they're losing so much. They have lost so much. And I feel like, you know, I have talks with my mom here and there, and I'm like, Mom, I want you to go, you know, to the mountains, and I want you to make friends if that's possible. Because my mom is a nurse. I was like, can you just like grab some supplies or anything? Can you just go up there and then talk to them and tell them if they have anything to sell? Like anything, like they can give me anything. Just tell them to give me anything, and then I can help them to not suffer. Because I feel like indigenous people is like they get mistreated so bad. They infuriates me sometimes, you know. And you know, my mom tells me too, is like, yo, mijo, you should see like and hear how they get treated. And I'm just like, why? Like, you know, I don't want to witness that, you know, ever. I thank God I have never witnessed it, but the fact they get treated like that is just unfair. And the fact the way the conditions they live and everything is unfair. So I really working with that with my mom, and it's like go to places, you know, where like there's like literally they need help. And if we can start an operation there and help them, it's still the same community to kind of like have the little house. I don't want them to become rich when you don't want to become rich, because, you know, I feel like money is the root of all evil, right? But we need it to survive, you know, in the system. So I feel like helping them with some money so they can repair their schools, they can have you know, learning supplies, you know, they can have shoes or huaraches, anything they can help them, you know. I want to do that. I really want to do that, and I really mean it. So I'm really working hard to try to link up with people. And if somebody's listening to this podcast y, you know, si está escuchando en México o algo así, quieres ayuda, pues yeah, háblame y trabajamos juntos, you know, because it's really important. It is really important for me and for the future generations, for everything that I help. I don't know. I feel like I learned so much from everybody. I have visited so many places. I've been everywhere that I realized that that's something that I want to invest my time in, and that's what something that I want to do. And yeah, I'm moving forward. I'm really like, that's why I took the break, and I'm just like trying to make friends. I'm trying to learn the etiquette of Instagram, the etiquette of like how you communicate, because people don't get to know you, and then sometimes like you can come off as like, oh, who's this guy? And especially in the in the business industry, sometimes people just talk to you because they want to know things about you, or they want to know like stuff about you. So everybody kind of keeps that guard. So I'm learning that stuff to navigate, be able to make friends, and eventually be able to be involved with a lot. Be able to pass the knowledge that at some point, everybody will ask me, why do you keep learning? Why do you keep learning? Why do you keep learning? Just stop. That was chefs that would tell me, you already proved yourself. I'm like, I'm not proving myself. I'm learning, man. I got things to do. Like, if you're comfortable, you see the executive chef, I mean, that's you, my friend. But I'm not happy. I'm still pursuing what I want. And what I want is knowledge, so I can share it and I can use it so I can help others. And, I've been having all these questions, and I feel like right now, I've been in this position where like now my books are a little changing. My attitude is changing a little bit. I just had my birthday, and I feel wiser, right? And I feel like, yeah, like at the end of the day, I just want to help the community, and that's what I want. I don't want to share my knowledge with my friends and, food, family, and everything, but everything has a meaning, and my meaning behind everything is helping the community, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this: are you planning on going back to Mexico and being in like within these communities, or are you trying to help remotely, like maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm in talks right now. I mean, literally anywhere. Like, if I can go to Egypt and I can help on anything, I do. I have friends in Egypt. I have friends in Colombia, Guatemala, Ecuador. I got different, and everybody as a culture, they have different problems, right? I feel like, when my point of view, I can maybe help or anything like that. And I'm just to help. I don't want to take over anything. If you want me to help you, let's do it. Let's team up and let's come up together. Movimiento es vida. So if we just move both of us as one, we're a team, and then we're just gonna move forward, and help each other out.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Well, you got to start by coming to Oregon, and then we.
Oh, definitely. I'm so excited. I'm already kind of like daydreaming on that. I actually talked to Sam.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we should shoot something. Got some stuff from Alaska, and anyway, shout out to Matias and Krista, you're listening, and Lisa. They give me some great, and Milo. They give me some great meat. So I have some moose, and I talked to them. I was like, hey, I have some Alaskan moose. If you want, like, I can come over and we can shoot something. We can have some fun. And yeah, he's like, well, okay, let me see what I have and everything, and I hit you back. And yeah, definitely, it's like my next thing. I want to go down there, and I already go all the time. I just go and eat, right? Yeah. I like to go to the food trucks. I get like an Airbnb. Like, that's my thing. Like, sometimes you need to get out. So I just rent an Airbnb, drive down, and I just like look at the restaurants, and I'm like, all right, boom, 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 and then let's go. And then I start just going around. So I've been around. I'm familiar with the city and everything. I just never really had like chefs, friends, or anything like that, To right now, we all, because of the Copper River thing, we all came together, and then we create these relationships. So I'm excited now to go down there and learn about, the Portland scene, sustainability, maybe visit a couple farms, maybe, just share the love, man.
I like that. I really liked you from the beginning. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think we have like the Latino connection.
Tenemos el sabor.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. It's true. And I think maybe you remind me of somebody, but I still don't know who it is.
You know what? You're not the first person that tells me that.
Yeah.
Like, I went yesterday to this local restaurant, and I was like, hey, do you have any like a buzzer kind of thing? And he looked at me, he's like, no, I just hired somebody. But he looked at me, he's like, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know from where. And I'm just like, oh, interesting. He's like, what's your name? And I thought we don't know each other. Like, even the farmer's market, I went there today to buy like a bread. And I was talking to a lady, and she was like, are you a vendor? And I'm like, no, I just came to buy a couple Valentinos. And then she was like, I know you from somewhere. And I'm just like, I just been having these things, and it throws me off. I'm like, whoa, maybe like, I don't know, I look like somebody else. I don't know. And then it's kind of giving these vibes, right? I really don't know. But it's kind of cool. It feels good. It makes me feel like we all met each other at some point in the past or something,
Yeah. Or maybe it's that you're just likable. Maybe it's that your approach to meeting people is something that people like so much that they just like they want to continue the relationship with you. So they imagine in their brains that they already know you because they're like invested to keeping you around. I think that's what it is.
And they're really, I really like appreciate every person that has come through my life and actually opened the doors, you know, and without even kind of like, you know, judging me or anything, and just kind of get to talk to me and get to know me. Because I was sometimes, like I said, sometimes we're shy and sometimes we don't want to talk, you know. But I'm glad that people opens, you know, they're open to talk to me and actually have me around. That means a lot to me. Like a lot of people don't understand that. Sometimes you're ready to share your energy, you're ready to do all these amazing things, but unfortunately, it's not your time at the moment, and your energy is kind of not fitting around. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna need to get discouraged. Just keep doing your thing, reinvent yourself if you have to, keep on learning things, you know, and always don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because those mistakes, my friend, they're gonna make you not make them again.
Yeah.
And when you make mistakes, you learn from them and you become a better person.
Yeah.
So se ríe y se llora y se llora y se ríe. So it's kind of like you need to do that.
Yeah, the only way to become a master is to make a lot of mistakes.
Exactly.
That's how you do it. You'll never be the best unless you've made all the mistakes. So I think that's one of the things I like to criticize the school system for whatever reason, just because I didn't like it growing up. But I feel like that's one of the things that they don't teach you in school. In fact, they do the opposite. They teach you that if you make mistakes, that's bad. If you make a mistake, you get an F, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you in real life, if you make a mistake and then you think about that mistake, then you're like, oh, sweet, that was amazing, because now I know what not to do. You know, or like next time I'm gonna do it like this, you know. And so anyways, I think that's a really good thing. And I think that the other really good kind of piece of advice to give young cooks is that I heard somewhere, and this got stuck in my head forever, which is that the law of the universe is to give. Because if you pay attention to the universe is just giving you. It's not asking for anything in return. Like the sun is just giving you life. You know, the apple tree is just giving you apples. Like they're not asking for $5 in return or anything.
Exactly.
You know? And I think for the most part, I want to say that the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, they do that. They give, and that's it, you know. But humans, we like to ask for things, you know. And I think that's the mistake that we make a lot of times, because if we just naturally like I'm all about meeting new people. I love meeting new people, and the way that I do that is that I give them, like I'm like I find whatever it is that they're doing, and then I get really into it, and then I just let them know how cool it is that they're doing this thing, you know, because
100%.
Because that feels good to them, and it feels good for me to make somebody else feel good. So it becomes an economy, a relationship of giving. You know, it's like, how much can I give? And then if I give a lot, then I know the universe is going to make sure that I'm okay.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I feel like that's why I feel it's really important for young cooks to start learning about how plant stuff. I think that's really important. Like, I feel like as a project, you should get yourself like a little mixed greens. Like, you know, I love the thing. Like, you create yourself like a little package of mixed greens, and that's gonna be your baby. Like, you grab it and learn how to grow mixed greens, like mixed greens or baby mixed green or garnish. And then you're gonna understand that you're gonna care for something that is alive. Yeah. And then it's like you're gonna be able to be in tune with everything, and you're gonna be able to understand more things, and then you're gonna be able to at the same time understand and level up with all creation as it is, and be able to respect everything.
Yeah, I like that. You know, something that I think about all the time, and I'm just starting to understand what this means to me personally, is that I believe firmly in like nature and spirits and like all these like stuff that's labeled as woo-woo, you know. I believe in it in my heart, but I really don't like woo-woo stuff, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So the packaging of it is what bothers me more than what it is. Like in this example, I think applies also to like religion. Like, I love the idea of religion. I love the idea of God. I love all those the teachings. It's amazing. But the packaging of religion.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's so horrible.
Like, God makes me sick, you know. Or
yeah,
like,
it makes me so sick too. You don't understand. It's just wrong.
Yeah, and it's just I think in general labels are wrong, you know, because like if you're like too hardcore into like I'm gonna save the planet, and then you become an environmentalist, like that label makes it so like now it's like fuck, like now I don't want to listen to you because now you're like too much to
Too
this
much
side.
experiment. Yeah, that is
And
very
so,
true. That
like
is
you
very
stop
true.
listening because now you're like, you know, you've committed to this one side. Either you're on the left or on the right, or
Right.
you know, and it's, that bothers the shit out of me. And so I'm trying to find a way to present information in a way that it's not inside of a package.
Yes,
You know?
that's
Like,
really important.
yeah, like I preach love and, you know, community. Like that's my religion, you know,
Mhm.
but I try to do it in like a punk way. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
don't label me this because like I'm going to surprise you with this weird thing that I'm going to do or say. And so that way I feel like I can deliver the message to more people,
Hmm.
because it's not just like I'm not just preaching to vegans, or I'm not just preaching to meat eaters. You know, it's like, hey,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go carnivore for a month, but then next month I'm gonna go vegan, you know, or whatever, and like be able to go back and forth. I think that's such an important thing, you know, to not put yourself in a box.
That is really true, and then it keeps things entertained. Like
Yeah.
that's how you know is you keep things entertained. Like you said, you don't put it on a box, and that's really important, especially when you are a creator or you have like this mentality where like you're doing so many things, like you're doing an art in the back, you know. So I think you shouldn't be able to put in a box. I think we should be able to just flow.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
That's key.
present the package, not present the package because it's nothing that you want to present, but it definitely, yeah, like the packaging that things are presented nowadays is just so wrong, and we need to change that. The labels on things is just something that needs to change. It needs to really change. And personally, like me as a and immigrating from Mexico, in my same continent, but immigrating from Mexico to here, and be able to have labels for some people, they're from like Europe, right? It's kind of like, yeah, like I feel like I understand that. So I feel like, yeah, labels are not good, hands
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Period.
So, all right. So you're taking a break right now from working at a restaurant.
Mhm.
Where do you want to be in like a year from now? Like,
In a year from now, I mean, everything takes time, obviously, right? But a year from now, at least, I need to be able to be in those stages where like I'm almost there. Like if in a year I'm not like almost there, as like, we're gonna do whether it's a salsa, we're gonna do this fermentation or anything. Like I want to be able to be there. Like I'm writing my goals by the time, so by next year at this point, or maybe by the summer, I'm trying to have an outlet. I'm trying to be set up in an outlet, have an outlet, and it doesn't matter how many people is, I don't care, but have an outlet where like I can be able to distribute like the whatever we're gonna make for whatever reasons I'm at work for, or whatever's gonna need my support, anything like that. Be able to create like salsas or anything like that. Be able to sell it and be able to start already that process of helping around.
yeah.
Because
you you
it's
start.
easy.
So you want to do a product. You want to sell a product and then donate a percentage to the cause.
Exactly. Like it literally, I mean, a lot of it. I mean, I'm not really looking for money here. I'm really like happy the way that I am. I live in an apartment and I'm so happy. My car takes me from point A to point B. I'm healthy and I eat a lot of good food. I'm happy inside me and I don't need any money. So I feel like those 10%, those percentages, that sometimes like, it's going to be like 20%. Like I feel like I want to give the most that I can, because I feel like that's not my money. I'm just helping you to succeed and to be able to, for you to put something in your community, but that's nothing that I can take from you, because that's yours, if you know what I mean. Like I don't know how to say it. Like, yes, obviously there's going to be costs and there's going to be things how to move around, and once you come with the numbers, boom, that's it. Like it will be clear as day. This is what are you making, and this is what is going for the thing, and just clear as day. You can see all the paperwork, and this is how much you get in, and that's it. Just keep having an outlet where, I don't know, I haven't pictured it yet, but I want an outlet where everybody can just visit and be able to help. You know, you can put your product, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a website. Maybe you have a product that you want to sell, put on a website. Everybody can go there. And I don't know, I'm still figuring out the logistics of it, but definitely, yeah, we can reach really far, definitely.
Nice. Nice. So how can I help you get closer to your goal?
By teaching me the ropes, man, hanging out with me, and taking me to the farms, let me know the people that grows our food, and be able to learn. Be able to learn. I'm just learning. I'm just going around learning. I know that you have a lot of creativity. You have a lot of things when it comes to electronics. I'm really bad at that, to be honest. Like, I'm just like, so I want to learn from that. I feel like I want to learn from everybody's things, and from you I would like to learn that. I would definitely would like to learn that part of that love from Portland, and because I know that love for Portland in a certain eyes as a consumer, right? Like, I have those eyes as I just go to a restaurant and then I eat, I have a food truck and all that. I have that love for Portland, right? Like, every single thing, I go to the farmers market, but I want to be able to see different, I'm reaching for another love, which is like the people behind serving, in all those restaurants that have visited, maybe be able to meet a couple of them. I don't know, but be able to be in that scene, it means a lot, because like we neighbors, so let's become one.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. My goal with this podcast is to get chefs together. Like, I don't have a clear direction exactly, and which I like. I like not having a clear direction. My favorite quote ever is by a guy. His name is Boyd Vardy. He's a South African lion tracker. So he finds lions in the savannah. Like, his job is just to go in the middle of the desert and find lions, and it's crazy. And he's one of the most incredible people ever. He's got 2 books that are really good, and he's been interviewed by a bunch of people in different podcasts, and he's incredible. But his quote that I love more than anything in the world probably is, "I don't know where I'm going, but I know exactly how to get there." And I love taking that and applying that to my life, because I think it applies to everyone's lives, because we don't know where the fuck we're going. Like, we have control of some things, of course, but we don't have 100% control. So
Exactly.
So it can go in any direction. But if we know how to get there, meaning, like, I know that if I'm going to have a great attitude always, like, I know that if I'm going to try to just be a giver, and just try to make everyone's lives better around me, like, that's me knowing how to get there. But then the second part is, I don't know where I'm going to go, because I just do my part, and then kind of the universe takes me. And so I like to think of this podcast as that experiment of, it's called Chef Therapy. So I'm not a therapist, but
that's a cool name.
I think it's a cool name. And
that's a dope name.
Yeah, I think it can work, because the point of this is that we need therapy because we don't have community. That's the reason why we need it. Exactly. If we have people around us, not just so we can like complain about our problems, but just people to laugh with, people to, and cry with sometimes if we need to do that, just like a group of people. I don't know how that's going to come up through a podcast. I don't know if that even makes any sense, but I like the idea of like, somehow like other people can listen and go, oh shit, I'm not the only one who's thinking all this crazy shit, and like, I'm in the kitchen grinding and doing all these things. And just the idea of like giving the next generation an example of like, look, this is what I did. This is what I should have done. This is what I did wrong. This is my dream. This is how I got there, and talk to a lot of chefs and like come up with a lot of different backgrounds for inspiration, for other people. So anyways,
it's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I want. So it's going to start with essentially a bunch of chefs in Portland area, and I have some friends in LA, because I'm friends with a lot of the chefs that cook for the Lakers and for the Trailblazers here. So I'm going to talk to the chefs that are, hanging out with the NBA players all the time. They're really cool, and they have incredible stories, as you can imagine, and like, they have these like dream jobs that a lot of cooks would, love to have, so they have a lot of insight as to how to get into those positions. And so it's like just a way to help other cooks that are like you or like me,
Yes.
Like, I wish that when I was younger and I was a prep cook, there would have been, a podcast of chefs, so
that would come handy. Like, if I can just count back, like how many nights, you get out of work at like 1 after taking a shot or something, and then you go home and it's quiet. Like, you got the hood, singing to your ear for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Tickets, like the line is full and everything is on fire. Everybody wants to sit down within 2 hours only, and then after that, like there's nothing. And it's like the mental just the stress of that environment is just so much, and I feel like you go home, and not only that, like the more that I talk to people that, I got like sharpener, like, people that sharpen knives, and like people those other things, we all identify with the same thing. They're like, man, it's like, go home, I'm alone, it's like my knives are my therapy, and I'm just like, I'm listening to it. And so when you say it is like, chef therapy, I'm like, man, this guy's up to something, because that is really important. The mental health in our chefs is important, because we nurture people. We try to make people better with our food, and we try to do our thing. So if we are bitter, we
Yeah.
feel not healthy, and that's going to reflect in the food. And one of the things that I like to do, and I recommend everybody to do, when you're cooking something, just look at it like you welding something. So all the energy that you're gonna put into that dish, let's say it's a pasta, you saute your onions, you go for it, you throw your pasta and everything, you're forging something. So when you forge something, especially something that is alive, because that's gonna feed somebody else, you're nurturing somebody. So that means the energy that you put into the dish, somebody's gonna eat it, ingest it. So it's really important for you to, or for us, and for everybody to cook with a good heart, because somebody else is gonna eat that food. And then if that person, for some reason, it was going through something, and you put that much love in that food, and then that person eats it, it might hit some buttons that's going to make that person cry. And you're going to be able to see, and you'll be able to realize that you can do more than just cooking a pasta or putting together a dish. Then you're going to realize that you have an effect, that you want to realize the cooks, chefs, the ladies that cook, the ladies that bake, everybody that bake, the whole community culinary, we have a gift, and then we pass it around. And it's important for us, if we want to keep doing that gift, for you to try to be happy and try to do the best when you're working with those live stuff. And I feel like chef therapy, or the podcast you're going to make or you have in the works, is going to be helping a lot of people with that problem. A lot of people is going to be able to identify. And like I said, like I feel like a lot of buttons, they're going to be pushed, and I feel like it's going to be a really successful podcast. I'm really happy that you think that way, because it's really important, to think that way and try to help around. And hey, if I can help you in anything, just let me know, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Here,
Yeah.
man. I can just like stop by anytime and just like, shoot, just talk to people. I would love that. Really love to make friends. And, I feel like the podcast is like, I don't know, like my wife was like, man, the way you were talking right now, it's like, I just was listening to your voice. And it's like, I think it would be cool you do the podcast. And I was like, all right, cool, man. I just want to get on it. Then we started to do, here we are,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so
awesome.
I'm wishing you the best. Seriously,
Thanks.
I really think that you're gonna do great with that operation. And treat it like your baby, because I feel like you will make a lot of good with that.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think something that's not part of the conversation ever, like honestly, I haven't heard this ever, which is that cooks have so many talents outside of cooking also.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be very therapeutic, because cooking is what we do for a living, right?
Mhm.
And it's something that we do because sometimes we love, sometimes we hate. There's that weird relationship that we have with it.
Mhm.
And I think that we need to have something else outside of that also. But there's very little time, and there's very, very little money to
Mhm.
explore those ideas, but I like the idea of like suggesting to cooks, like, hey, learn how to play the drums.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because maybe you need to be in a punk rock band.
Mhm.
So you can, let it all out on the weekend,
Yes.
after you work brunch on Sunday, like you go band practice. Or maybe you need to write a book, maybe you
Yeah.
need to start the discipline of journaling every morning, and whatever, because I think that we all need to have that one thing, like some other creative outlet
Exactly.
that can hopefully balance out the chaotic craziness of, the nature of the cooking business.
Exactly. I feel like I was really fortunate. They grew up with my, we have a Afro-Cuban family, because I dance salsa.
That's
And
awesome.
that has helped me so much.
That's
So
cool.
learn salsa, guys. Learn salsa, man. I'm telling you, like that's just like you feel great. Just go after work, maybe eat, you have energy, right? I'm not telling you maybe once a week. And just if you don't know how, they teach classes. Just show up 1 hour earlier, and that's it. And just dance. And you'll see how good you feel. You're gonna be sweating, maybe you take a shot, and then you meet more people, and then some Bad Bunny action or whatever, and then you're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel good about yourself. It's gonna help you, and you don't even. Next thing you know, you just gotta go home. You don't want to go, but you're excited to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it works, So it's really important that to have a side. Like, if you're a creator, you're a creator, and find your outlets. Pretty much, that's hands down. Like,
and you find them by just trying a lot of different things and see
Exactly.
which one is the thing that speaks to you.
Exactly.
Like I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I don't dance, even though I'm from Colombia, where everybody dances. I was like the weirdo kid that did not dance.
La Sonora, la Sonora, Carruseles, Barranquilla, Bomba Estéreo from over there.
I know. I mean, it's like Colombia is like one of the dancing capitals of the planet. Like everyone dances. I remember being a kid and going to a birthday party with a bunch of kids, and all the kids are dancing.
Yes, yes, my guy. Yes, I remember that as a kid. Mom would be like, "All right, put the hand out." You'd be like dancing with the kids. Like, what?
Yeah, it's like,
wow, you just woke up a memory. You unlocked that thing. I forgot all about it.
I need to catch up, because my wife would go crazy if I start dancing with her. She loves dancing. And one of our first dates when we first met, I took her to a tango class. So we danced tango. But I don't dance. So maybe you need to come over and
let's go, man. Like, I know a couple spots over there. Like, I already been salsa dancing in Portland. They're good. Like, they do the Rosa County? Rose County?
Yeah.
They do the Rose County salsa dancing festival. Okay. So that happens every year. I don't know if they're doing it right now, right? Obviously, COVID happened, but the salsa scene in Portland, amazing salsa dancer there. Oh yeah, 100%. So like, back in the day, I used to just drive around. Like when I was like 25, 26, I used to just drive around and be like, "Wait, Portland, let's go. Olympia, let's go." And like, and I get to know that a lot of people like Olympia. It was the most shocking one because there's nothing over there. It's just like a college, and then after 10, like, it's dead. And then we found this little like spot on the corner with my cousin, and we walk in, and it was crack. And I was like, well, even the guy with a wheelchair, like, he was freaking going, man, and he was the DJ. And I was like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So we just like get a bunch of friends, and we came back home. So that's we definitely need to do that. Come over with my wife and let's go, man. Double date.
That's awesome, dude. All right, that's gonna be the next conversation. Is when you're gonna come down here.
Let's do it.
and make cool cooking videos.
Exactly. I'm excited for that. I got a couple things on the works right now. I'm working putting couple fermentants away right now, so I will make sure to have something cool lined up.
Cool. All right, dude. So for whoever's listening to this, how can they find you, or how can they help you? How can the community help you succeed?
For the moment, I'm working on my social medias, and I'm kind of like getting around, but definitely Instagram, Cesar Figueroa MX, simple. And just support, just follow me, and I'll make sure I keep you updated on everything that is happening. Obviously, like right now, my Instagram is about plates, and I'm barely starting my thing, but here comes TikTok, and I'm just realizing that you need a lot. So it's kind of little by little. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to give better information about where they can directly go and support, because a lot of friends, they're really interesting on supporting. I didn't think I was gonna have that much support, to be honest. Like, I was like, everybody's alone in this world. I feel like once I start going, I feel like a lot of people's not gonna support me, because it's okay if they don't, right? But that's what I kind of was like thinking. And next thing I know, like, I have people like, dude, what can I help you? How can I help you, dude? I'm over here in Canada, man. I'm over here in Egypt. What do you need? And I'm just like, whoa. I was like, whoa, no, I'm just like barely starting this thing. Like, like, give me give me a moment. We're all friends. We're all growing up, right? So it's kind of beautiful that we all, and the community I'm growing up. I grew up with some people and I haven't even met, and they're ready to support me. So it's an amazing feeling. I didn't think I was gonna get that much support, and it's people that we met, like this guy from Egypt. I met him. We started sharing fermentation projects, and he's like, hey, you ever tried like black honey? And I'm just like, how do you make that? So he taught me how to make black honey, and I was just like, this is so dope. I wonder if I can switch that up. So I started making my own black honey Pacific Northwest, and boom, I got it. And I told him, I was like, dude, I got black honey going. So that guy ended up winning the Egypt 2022 Culinary Cup with his team. So that's exactly what you were saying earlier. Like, if you just humble and you just like make friends, don't burn your bridges.
Yeah.
You're gonna see that eventually those people are gonna reach, especially because it's talented, and the level of respect, like I said, for ingredients nowadays is just high. So everybody's pushing the envelope to become better and to do new creations. And just the fact that he's doing that, and a couple of friends, and now I'm Hell's Kitchen, so it's incredible, the whole movement that is happening right now. Everybody's getting theirs, and I'm just here patiently. Eventually we're gonna get this going, right? And I'm just patient. I already waited so long. What is it more to wait? I know where I'm going. I know what I want to do. So eventually I'm gonna get there, and we'll see what goes from there after.
Dude, I love it, dude. If there's anything that I can do to help you, count me in.
Thank you. Same here for that podcast, man.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, let's wrap it up here, but let's stay in touch, man.
You got it.
Pleasure talking to you. Let's
pleasure
plan
as well. Pleasure on you.
Party at my house.
Saludos desde Seattle.
Yes, sir.
And I'm ready for the next one. Just let me know, and then let's hang out.
Okay.
You got it.
Cool. All right. Take care, homie.
Take care, my brother. Bye.
Peace, man. Cheers.